Speed has always been a popular topic among drummers, especially young ones. Like everybody wants to know how to play fast. Everybody wants to know how to blaze around the kit. You know, every time they see dudes like Tony Royster or Thomas Pridgeon or any one of them dudes fly around the kit, everybody just wants to be able to do that. It's a popular question for educators, is how to work on my speed. How do I do this fast? You know, how do I work up the speed on this thing? So there are a lot of teachers out there will mention the whole idea when you're doing any kind of exercise, myself included, to start slow. But not everyone will tell you why that is. And I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of drummers get turned off by the whole idea of doing an exercise at 75 or 80 beats per minute. It's super boring. And they figure, well, what's the point of this? Like, how am I going to end up playing like these guys when I'm working this slow? So they get turned off and they skip that whole process and they go straight to just working it out until they think it sounds good. And it just ends up in a huge mess. The purpose of this video is to address the whole idea of speed. And by the time you get to the end of this video, if you stuck it out, you're gonna know how you can work on playing anything fast. The thing that I really want you guys to get by the end of this video is that anything that you see any of your heroes doing is not out of reach. You might be totally inspired. You might be inspired to keep going. You might be inspired to quit after you see some of these guys do what they do. But it's super important to understand that none of that stuff is out of your reach. If speed is your goal, then it's a reachable thing. So just give me a few minutes of your time. Check this video out. By the time you get to the end of it, I promise you will have the tools that you need, the mental tools that you need to be able to do anything you want fast. So let's get into this. The first thing that I really want to mention to you guys, and I want you to get this into your head because it's super important in my opinion. Speed should never be your only goal when you work on anything, all right? Speed is a result. It shouldn't be a goal. It should be a result. Your goal should be proper technique. Speed is a byproduct. I can tell you in all honesty, man, I've been playing for 30 years. I've been playing professionally for the last, I don't even know, 10 or 15 years or so. I can tell you, man, with my outside voice and a straight face, that speed is the least important aspect of drumming. It's cool for party tricks, you know, and it's cool if you want to be one of those showman type drummers or whatever. But without a doubt, man, you will never get a gig because you can play fast. You'll never lose a gig because you can't play fast. So let's just get that out of the way, first of all. Like it's really, I mean, I guess one of the reasons that I wanted to say that is if there are any drummers out there that are down on themselves because they can't blaze around the kit, don't worry about it. It's really not that important. So having said that, get all that depressing stuff out the way. Let me just give you my take on the whole idea of speed. And this is my personal formula for speed. And basically what it is, proper form times repetition plus patience. That's it. That is the only way that you're going to be able to play anything fast. If you skip any of those steps, then there's no way that you're going to be successful at it. So the first thing you need to do is learn the proper form, whatever it is. That means, you know, the sticking pattern, or if you're doing a foot thing, learn the proper movement if it's a heel-toe thing. If you're working on your double bass thing, you know, that whole wicked thing that a lot of those metal guys learn how to do. There's a lot of sources to find out the proper form for whatever you want to do. But that's step one. You have to learn the proper form. The second thing is repetition. Proper form times repetition. So what that basically means, after you learn the proper form, you turn on a metronome and you do it 1,000,000 times in a row. Now that brings us to the most important part of the entire process. I want to talk to you guys about the importance, the critical importance of muscle memory. Muscle memory is what's going to allow you to sound super clean once you speed up. The whole reason and purpose for playing anything slow, this is especially for you beginners out there. I know it's boring, but this is why you need to work slow. Muscle memory is the most important part of learning how to do anything fast. Your muscles need time to know what to do and whatever sequence it needs to do it in, whatever muscles need to engage to make that thing happen. Your muscles have to learn that first. That's the whole idea of starting slow. I mean, you can imagine if you were taking martial arts lessons or something, and there was a particular move that the teacher wanted to show you. If he just rushed into it and just did it at blazing speed and stood back and say, okay, do it, what are you going to do? Like you can't, there's no way, because you have no idea what to do yet. Your muscles are almost like a separate group of people, and they have to know what order to work in, what sequence to work in order to make that thing happen. So that's the whole idea of working slow. That little playing clip that you saw off the top of the video, I just wanted to include that example because one thing that I really want you guys to know is that all of that I was doing at the beginning was impossible 6 months ago, 5 months ago, 4 months ago. Couldn't do any of that stuff. But I spent a lot of time, just working on the whole traditional grip, learning the bounce, learning different combinations and getting around the kit and all that kind of stuff. And I did all that stuff really slow, just so I could learn how to do it. The only way that you're going to sound clean when you finally speed up is if you start out at a slower tempo. Once your muscles learn and know what to do, the speed part is easy. It's like one day they'll come to you and say, all right, man, you know what? We got this. We're cool. Let's start speeding this thing up. So that's the whole idea, man. That's the whole idea with working slow and the reason behind it. So I know it's boring, but it's got to be done. If you have any hopes of working up to speed for anything or wanting to play like your heroes, if you're not working slow, you're never going to get there. The last thing, of course, is patience. Do not rush the process. Some of the things that you might see some of these guys doing might take you a year, 2 years before it really develops and you're able to do it at the same level. Don't rush the process, man. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy the whole, set little goals along the way. I mean, I know for me, when I was learning the traditional grip, there were times when I would work for a couple of months and then step away from it and get back. And by the time I got back to it and noticed that I was better than I was 3 months ago, I was really excited. It's a really cool feeling to see your own progress when you're doing that thing. So, when I talk about it taking 5 years for me to get to the point where I could play the traditional grip comfortably in front of an audience, I'm not kidding, man. It took me that long before I got there. But I didn't sweat it, because I already knew how to use the match grip. It's not like I was not able to play. But the process for me was really exciting. And by the time I got to the end of it, man, it was just that much more rewarding when you look back and see where you started. So it's super important, man, that you just don't rush the process. You're not on a time clock. You know what I mean? Just enjoy the progress that you're doing. And then when you get to the end of it and you're blazing those double kicks at over 210, you can be really proud of yourself. The other thing that I wanted to mention, that I think I've mentioned before in other videos, the reason why the breaks are important, the really cool thing about your brain is that it continues to process information long after you've physically stopped doing it. And that's the reason why you take a break, and instead of losing everything that you learned, 4 or 5 months prior, you actually got better at it because your brain, the entire time you weren't actually physically doing it, continued to process all that information. And that's why you get better. As long as you keep going, that's why you get better, regardless of how long your breaks are. So that's basically all there is, man. My apologies to anybody that clicked on this video looking for a magic pill. There is no magic pill. There's a process. The process needs to be respected. And if you respect it, you'll reach your goals in no time or eventually or whenever. Doesn't make any difference. Just enjoy the process and get it done. So, get to work. Don't forget to tell people where you learned this. Like, subscribe. See you in the next video.